Say hi to my neighbor.
שבוע טוב.
Okay. So I'm just going to put everyone on mute now so we won't have any background noise. Shavua Tov, Agud Tovach to everyone. So nice to see you and welcome you all tonight after a beautiful Shabbos, which I hope we all celebrated in our homes, but together, especially with the Kiddush in the bag, adding that dimension for all of us as well. And this week, we are very happy to welcome for the someone who's going to hear Havdalla for the first time in their life, a beautiful new granddaughter, Tzivya, who's here with us, Tzivya Raskin. Mazel tov again to Ari and Rifki, and we're happy to have her escort the Shabbat Queen as we do it here together. And after Havdalla, we look forward to sharing a beautiful story to inspire us and to bless us for the week. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yeshua Betach Elo Yechad Kiyazi Bezimras Yo Adonai Yeshua Ushiyaftem Mayim Bevesasoyim Mimayne Ya Yeshua Ladoyno Ya Yeshua Alamcha Bechasechaselo Adinai Tzvay Simon Numazgavan Yaakov Zela Adinai Tzvay Zashayadam Vayteyachvach Adinai Yeshia Hamelech Yaneinu V'yai Mekareinu Vayehodim Vaysa V'simcha V'sasayin V'yikar Kevay L'tirlanu Kais Yeshua Zezer V'shivadino Yakra Avri Maronon Ra'ato Adino Elenu Malachai Lam Baydei Pri Agafen Ra'ato Adino Elenu Malachai Lam Baydei Minei Tsamim Ra 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 Maya ya ya Maya ya 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 Maya ya ya Oh ya 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 Maya ya 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 Oh ya 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 Adino Yaleinu Melech Elam Beidei Meidei Yalesh Adino Yaleinu Melech Elam Hamavdil Bein Kodesh Lechayil Ben Lechayishem Ben Yisrael Lo Amin Ben Yom Hashviyil Sheshes Me'amasa Baruch Adonai Hamavdil Ben Kodesh Lechayil. Take the candle, extinguish it in the blessing of the wine. We take a little bit for ourselves and for everyone who's watching us on Zoom or Facebook or connected to us, to get ourselves wisdom and parnasah for the coming week. And we will sing, as customary, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Agilati, B'meira, Yavayleinu, I'll make a bracha achrona. We'll sit down and we'll share a story of inspiration of a tzaddik for our week. Okay, now we're going to move and we're going to share the story of the week. Dina, I thought we're getting Dina. So Shabbat Tov, and I hope we all had a beautiful Shabbat, because our week is blessed according to the way our Shabbat is. Our Shabbat culminates the week before, but it also brings blessing to the coming week. The greater the celebration, the greater the blessing. I hope you all enjoyed the challah, the baba ganush, the paper we made to be able to have for the kiddush, and more importantly, the love and caring and sharing from a community to each other. So a lot of things on people's minds now is really related to Hashem and what's happening, and how will we get out of this situation. And parnasah for many people start becoming an issue, livelihood. So I saw a story which is very, very fascinating. It's with one of the early Hasidic Rebbes, the Chayza Lublin, Yaakov Yitzchak Lublin, lived in the early 1800s. And I wanted to share that story tonight and to bring blessing for our week. So the story goes that in a small town not far from Lublin, there lived a Jew. His name was Yudel. And this Jew was a wealthy man. And though even as a student, he wasn't a great student, wasn't very, very successful in studying Torah. So he never really studied much Torah, didn't know a lot. He basically knew how to read Chumash, the Siddur and Tehillim. But beyond that, he didn't know much. But he was a very big Baal Tzedakah. He gave a lot of charity. And was always trying to do as many mitzvahs as he could. Once a year, he would go visit the Chayzer Lublin. He would visit this great Rebbe to get a bracha, to get a blessing. And one thing he did was every year he brought a big donation. So the Rebbe can use it to give it out to all the charity causes that he had. But as they say, the day came, wheel of fortune turns, and the wheel of fortune turned for him and he became a poor man. And even though he wanted to go visit the Rebbe, but he felt coming every year with so much money to give him to his causes, and now I can't give him anything, he really was not excited to go, and he pushed it off. 1 year, a second year, and by pushing off and not going to the Rebbe, he became more lax in his mitzvahs. And he needed to feed his family, so he became a porter. He was a strong guy, he became a porter. So he used to go to the market and see who needed to carry their items and make a few pennies here and there. But it was tough. He wasn't really covering his expenses, and things were very tough. One day in the marketplace, the local priest sees him, and he's dressed in porter clothes, acting like a porter, and he says, Yudel, we all know you were a very wealthy man at one time, and you were very generous and very charitable. It's very hard to see you in this way, where you don't really have, you have to be a porter, and I'm sure you're not having it easy. He says, I want to help you. Come to my house, and I want to help you. So, the porter would generally not talk to the priest who would come to his house, but, he needs money. So he goes to the priest's house, and the priest tells him, I spoke to the manager of the pirates, the person who owns a lot of the land around here, and I asked him to help give you a job, and he was very happy to give you a job if you go tomorrow. But meanwhile, you may need a little bit of money. I'll lend you money. You can bring home food tonight, and tomorrow you'll go there. So he said, okay. Took the money. He went to work the next day. Next afternoon, he brings him back the money. A few days later, the priest shows up at the pirates' estate, at the estate of this very wealthy man, and he sees him working there, and he's fixing a fence or something. He says, you're a guy who used to have a lot of money and a lot of blessing. And he says, maybe you have to rethink about who you are. Look, you're a Jew, you believe in God. Look what God did to you. He threw you to the dogs, made you poor. Says, come over to the church. Come over, become part of the church. I promise you, you'll have a livelihood. I'll make sure you have plenty of money and a livelihood. You'll have everything you need. So the guy was like a little frightened. What do you mean, come over to the church? Imagine a Jew thinking we're coming to the church. He says, the priest says, we'll sprinkle a little bit of water on you. It's nothing. And then he insinuated that if you don't come, I'm going to tell this new job that you got, I'll tell the manager not to continue hiring you, and then you'll be out of everything. And look how you were struggling every day. So Yudah was getting a little worried. He said, give me a few days. So he goes home. But on the way home, he thinks, I don't want to convert to Christianity. But I need to make a living. I need to feed my family. How bad will it be if I tell him I'm going to convert, but really I'm going to still be a Jew? So he goes to shul, and he makes sure there's no one in shul. It's before mincha time, and he cries out his heart to Hashem. Then he goes home, and he tells his wife what he's planning to do. And his wife says, listen, I'm a very simple lady. Something doesn't seem right. Even if you think you're going to remain a Jew, it doesn't seem right that you should convert for livelihood. In the next town is the Chayzer Lublin. Go and ask him. So he goes to the Chayzer Lublin, and he pours out his heart to him about all the hardships, and that a person who had plenty, and all of a sudden he used to help a lot of people, now he has nothing, and look what's happening, and the only one who seems to help him is the priest. So the Chayzer Lublin says, listen, you're not going to get good. A Jew going to a priest to go and get help is not going to bring you any good. It's only going to bring you terrible things. So do not do that, obviously. The guy says, but how did God do this to me? The Chayzer says, I have an idea. Bring God to a din Torah. Why don't you bring God, summon God to a court case that he had no right to take away your livelihood and to stop you from having money? So he says, really? I can bring God to a court case? I never heard of anything like that. The Chayzer says, yes, you can bring God to a court case. So he says, how do I do it? He said, listen, I'm going to get 3 rabbis. I will be the advocate for God, who is the accused. You come and give your complaints. He says, but how can I trust rabbis? They're afraid of God. How are they going to rule against God? He says, don't worry. Rabbis are afraid of the Torah, and they don't want to break Hashem's law. And if Hashem is wrong, they will judge according to you. So a court case happens, and he lays out his complaint to God. He was wealthy. He gave a lot of charity. He tried to do mitzvahs. And all of a sudden, God takes away his money. What right did he have to take away his money? So the Chayzer acted as the defense of Hashem. So he started to say, listen, maybe you did charity, but you also did certain sins. And he started to name a few sins. And this fellow Yudel was a little surprised. How did the Chayzer know the sins that I did? Because they were true. These were sins that he performed. But yet he said, listen, I wasn't perfect. I didn't know a lot. Even in school, I didn't study a lot. I don't know any Torah. So I didn't do them intentionally. I did the sins by mistake. I didn't really know. So the Chayzer says that's not an excuse. You should have learned, especially when you had money. You should have hired a teacher to teach you Torah. Why didn't you? So it's not fully an excuse. So then the judges said, let me ask you a question, they told him. Will you forgive God if we get God to forgive you? So he said, I would forgive Rav right away. So he said, perhaps if you take upon yourself now to go study Torah and to go learn more, then maybe we can have we can come out to a conclusion. And they concluded that even though God has the right to do what he wants, but God demands from us to go beyond the letter of the law. So we're asking God to go beyond the letter of the law and to actually give you, but as long as you fix your problem and go study Torah and learn how to. So he agreed, and they gave their judgment, and they gave 30 days for this to happen, 30 days for God to return his wealth. So he goes home, doesn't go back to the priest. He believes it's going to happen. He starts learning more Torah. He goes to work every day, looking for work, waiting for God to pay him back his treasure. Comes day 28, nothing. Day 29, nothing. Day 30, he goes to the market, doesn't look like any different than any other day. So what? God's not going to, he's trying his hardest to forgive, to become better and to do what he needs to do. How come God's not coming forth with his part of the deal? He decides maybe he should go to the train station. Maybe there's more work at the train station. He goes to the train station, the last train pulls in, and he's waiting for someone to come, and he sees no one's looking for work. And as he's about to go home, all of a sudden he sees out of the end of the train walks out a very well-dressed person with a big suitcase. And as it comes down, the guy's looking around, he sees him, the porter, he says, "Mister, come here, I need your help." So he comes running over and he says, "Do me a favor." The well-dressed man says, "Listen, I have to run for a second, I'll be right back. Watch my suitcase, and then you'll give it to me, you'll help me when I come back." So okay, he's so happy, he'll earn a few dollars, he'll be able to bring something home. And he's waiting, the guy's not coming back. He looks at the time, he looks at the sky, it's getting dark, he has to have a mincha, too far to go to shul. So he decides, I'll take the suitcase home. I'll pray the mincha at home, and then I'll come back and find the guy and bring him his suitcase. So he goes home, and it was a heavy suitcase. And by the time he comes home and he was schlepping, it was so difficult, the door opens and he falls on the ground with the suitcase, and the suitcase pops open and out falls out full of gold coins. So right away he tells his family, let's gather the coins, close the suitcase, I'm going to pray and go back immediately, find the guy. Don't tell anybody what was in here. And he goes back to the station after mincha, and he goes to the station master. "Did you see someone looking for a porter with the suitcase?" He said, "No." He hangs around, no one. Comes back the next morning again. So he thinks maybe this guy's not coming back. So can he keep the suitcase or not? What's going on? So he runs back to Lublin, the Chayzer Lublin, and he tells him the story. So the Chayzer said, "You saw what was inside. Will that amount that was inside equal up to the wealth you had before?" So he said, "Not only will it equal up, it's even more than I had before." So the Chayzer said, "This is God's way of paying you. God kept his side of the deal. Now continue keeping your side of the deal. Continue studying Torah. Don't stop. And Hashem will keep you to be able to have your wealth and give charity for many, many days." And that's what happened. So here we see at the end of the day, Parnasa, livelihood comes from Hashem. Whatever situation we are in, whatever hardship we have, we have to always remember livelihood comes from Hashem, and to him we turn in our difficult times, or at the beginning of every week we say, "Hashem, please bless us that this week I should have enough what I need to be able to feed myself and my family." But as Jews, we know we ask Hashem for more than what we need because we want to help others as well. And obviously now we're not only praying for Parnasah, for livelihood, we're praying for health, that everyone should be healthy and well and come home, and we should be able to come back through our lives, we'll be able to be together as a community, as friends, as a people, all the Jewish people. And the biggest blessing we ask Hashem, like this meal tonight is called the meal of Mashiach. When we escort the Shabbat Queen, the Sudas, David, Malcolm, Mashiach, the meal of Mashiach, that Hashem should bring for us the Mashiach Sitkenu very, very quickly, and should take us all to Israel and redeem the whole world from any issues, any negativity, all health and monetary issues and fighting and other issues. Should be only peace and beautiful things for us and all of the world. Shavua Tov. So beautiful to I'm going to unmute everyone, be able to say Shavua Tov. So beautiful to really be with everyone together and to be able to finish the Shabbat and start the new week together as one. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
And we hope to see you on our many things going on this week. Don't forget, Live Bomer is Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. We're going to have a Zoom bonfire here. So join in. We'll sing. We'll have the songs. We'll have a fun time. And tomorrow morning, 9:30. We love you all.
Bye, likewise.
The Kelseys, the Seltzers, the Holtzmans. Beautiful to see our fellow colleagues, the Raiders, Aviva, and Sela, and Chaim, and Joshua. All the best. We love you all.
All the best.
All the best.
Bye.
Well. Bye.
Shavua Tov.
Bye.